So, welcome back again to our next little meme update. I said I will do this weekly, or if some significant price movements are happening, which they did last week. As always, I'm using this method for all my tracking, also for memes. For more explanation, just watch the last weekly recap video. There I really explain every point in detail. So, let's jump in Bear Buff and Beyond. The bullish and the bearish one. Here's the bullish tracking, which I already said, in my opinion, I hate this one. Just because we broke my beer line now, really. And I think we will do the bearish one, but I found one last thing where I could say, yeah, it makes sense to bounce here. So, but I'm still bearish. For this, here's your 2020. That was your B. High, low, ABC, lower high, midpoint. Perfect with the line to B, where you bounce on it, fall under it, try to break it again, but you retract, come up one time, but you weren't able to stay over it, fell down again, and one last time reject, and then you go to your T. So, for the bullish tracking, this here in September 2024 was your T, your last time to sell. Here in April 2025 was your perfect still V under A. Here is your higher low. And we already did our A peak quite perfect on the T line. And we would be right now in the A pullback. So, for the bullish tracking, my B line was here. So I'm still bearish. But for the sake of being bullish, this is our A. And normally A is normally over the trend line, but it can also be under the trend line if it's really perfect aligned with T. And normally A is doing a 0.5 pullback from the V. And if you look this, here is your 0.5 pullback, this here. The exact point, I mean, we dropped a little bit under it, that's okay, but we bounced here. So, for the bullish tracking, what we would expect now would be a higher low. You are not allowed to touch or break 650 again, just to say the higher low is perfect, and then you go. Everything over 9.69 is bullish, and your next target would be B at $36. And then if we get our peak, let's say the peak of B is at really 36.85, you just take the 0.5 of this low up to here, and that would be your next pullback target from your B. And then the only question is, are we breaking all-time highs or not? And if we are repeating the past, we should, because here's your first peak, the lowest one. Here's the second peak, it's higher. And this is your third peak, it's also higher. So I would imagine that your next peak, number 4, has a pretty big possibility it will be high again. So anything over 29. That's for the bullish tracking. If you break or touch 6.51 again, my opinion, still the bearish alternative is taking place, which I still standing behind it, and that would be this. It's not really a big change. You still have your 3 peaks, and we still would imagine that our 4th peak is still higher than this one. But the significant change here would be that your T isn't here. Our last peak would have been T. And for this, you have to do at least something lower than 351 for your V, then higher low, and then you go. Or this could be two things. You're doing a higher low to the low of 2020, or you need a lower low. Your next targets for A would be at 1261, the same like here. B is also not changing. Why do I lean more to this? Pretty simple to be answered. It's just the same like in 2020. You're coming from your M, you're coming from your M, you go up again, you go up again, you do your M or W pattern, you do your M or W pattern, and the next thing is your right side is higher. Same here, your right side is higher. And in my opinion, you would be, as always, in this candle here, February 26, 2020, because it was a bounce. Here you have the bounce and you drop down that. So you can decide which one you liked more. For confirmation lines, as I said, everything over 12.54, so everything over this break is bullish, very bullish. I mean, then the bearish alternative is already dead. I would even say everything over 9.73 is bullish. For bearish, I mean, we already broke my line for bearish. Just to have 100% line, this is the absolute no-low line at 563. Because here we really have nothing left. Because the 0.5 is where we are right now. You are allowed to break a little bit under it, but if you break under this, you're way, way too far away and too deep for this line to be still right. So for me, confirmation to really downside, I mean, in my opinion, it already is, but this was really to be sure that we have to do a new low. And then the only question is, are we doing a new all-time low or a higher low to 2020? Let's see. Okay, next one. DGT. Bullish and bearish, but there is not a lot of difference. So first, the bullish one. For the bullish one, because they are completely different, the bearish and the bullish one. For the bullish one, you're already in the end of Fractal 3 and would start the fourth one. So this here would be the first one, this would be the second one, and this would be the third one. And as you see, they are doing lower peaks after lower peaks. So if the fourth one now is not breaking over this, the death spiral is really killing the stock in my opinion. So for where we are ending the third fractal right now. We already did our ABC. This is our lower high, perfect midpoint, perfect T point, and we are finishing the T point right now. And the T point has to end lower than the start of the T. We did that, and we still are in a higher low. Still, we have not much space left, so we are not allowed to touch 1174 or break it, of course. Right now, this is still a higher low. So a higher low to this one. To finishing this whole thing would be, if this was our V, now, I mean, we bounced on Friday. Now we have to do higher low, and then we go. Everything over 20.92 is bullish. Our next target would be A at $30, then 0.5 pullback, and then our B would be at 43. And our next C, as I said, to be bullish in the long term has to go at least over 57. For levers to the downside, yeah, if you break 1170, that's bearish. But here is the bearish version, and it's not real. It's completely different, but it's not. How would I say that? It's not terror. I really have to say, I like this version better, not because it's bearish, just because for the bearish version for DJG, this is just one fractal, just one. And you would be in the finishing move from this fractal. You have your ABC, your lower high, your midpoint, your T. And right now, for the bearish version, you have to go under 1179 because the T is ending in a lower low. So in my opinion, most likely you will do still higher than the IPO. Here is your A bottom. So somewhere between 1180 and 1028 would be your V. That would be perfect. V under A. Then you do your higher low. Then you go. For price targets for this, your A would be at 56. Your B, and most likely you will do, you come up to A, then, okay, let's say we're taking 1026. Yeah. You do a 0.5 or a breakout retest for the A pullback, then to your B pullback, C. And for the bearish version, it doesn't matter if you break all-time highs or not, because it would be just the second fractal. And for what we would look for, it's even more interesting, because we have we have no example here what the next version would be, because it's just the first fractal. But fractals are repeating. So we would expect this move. Maybe not instantly like something like this, yeah, because the repetition is most of the time slower, but quite strong movements up. Or maybe weekly, even just this. Yeah. So if this is done, the next move should be very strong. So in my opinion, the bearish and the bullish version, right now at least, are still looking fucking great. I would lean more to this, also because it makes really more money to play this, but I'm also okay with this. Okay, next one, AMC, the bullish and the bearish, and they are not really different right now because we are in the ending for both. So just for the overview, we start that AMC has this big megaphone, and in 2020 we hit this lower trend line once. The second one we didn't hit it. Our all-time low did it. All-time high did it. Right now we already came down to hit the trend line perfectly at April 24, and it would be in the same place right now like in 2021. And our next target for our next C could easily be, so for our next target, it's easily possible that we hit the higher trend line again at 800. For our targets, wherever our next A would be at 74 and our next B at 151. Just the M and the T. And at least I would look for the gap fill at 42. At least. So what did we do? We did our low, our V in 2020. Then we ran up. A, somewhere in here is our B, all-time high. Then lower high, midpoint, T, last time to sell. 2 for the bullish tracking, 2 our V and A. Which also would be our all-time low. And from April, we don't need it anymore, for April 2024 till last Friday, this was just our higher low, this whole thing. And our next move would be to A. So let's look what we have done in the last weeks. This is just a tiny tracking. So we broke, as I said, my B line. So this isn't the higher low of this. That's wrong. So there are two ways for the bullish tracking, because if you look this at the daily, the May 2024 low was 2.38. On Friday, we did 2.39. So, okay, it wasn't high, all-time low. And right now, it wasn't a double bottom. Okay, so for this, for the bullish tracking, we are still in higher low of 2024. So for this to be bullish, we have to do now a higher low. If this was our V, which is perfect for our T, and then we go. If we're doing the small one, like A pullback, B pullback, I mean, every one of you who is looking for this wants to see a squeeze. So yeah, most likely we will see big candles, okay? But I'm still thinking we're doing a two-part squeeze. Doesn't matter. But one important thing, because I already saw on other channels, yeah, now we have the button Monday, so tomorrow, next week, it's over, we're squeezing, blah, 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 blah. I just give you another perspective, because for me, if you look all the V's we did, and we did 3 of them. The first one was in 2020, here. This was clearly our V. This was our higher low. And from the V to the higher low, it took 10 days, because it was the first one. And we can agree it doesn't matter if you believe in fractals, or if you're using bar patterns or Elliott wave or anything else. We all agree we tracking all this all this because we all are convinced that this one will repeat. So this V to this higher low was 10 days. And I said it before, the repetition of the first fractal is always slower. So in April 2024, here was our V, here was the ending of the higher low, was 23 days. And this year, in April 2025, this was our V. This here was our higher low. It was 26 days. Because, just to say that, why I'm not putting this till here, because here is your higher low. Here. This is already the run to A. This is already A. So from here to here, 26 days. So we never, in the past, squeezed from the V. Never. We always squeezed from the higher low. So if we are saying this here right now was the V for the bullish tracking, we take 26 trading days, and this would be December 3. So if this was the V, December 3 here would be your finishing of the higher low. And then you may be doing this, or you're doing the slow uptrending channel for your A. And then you go. Same like in April 2024. I mean, okay, no. In April 24, you did the higher low, and with the finishing of the higher low, you went. And in 2020, you did the V, you're finishing your high low, and then you go. Okay, so 2 ways. You're doing your 26 days and then you go. Or you're doing it 26 days and then you start your little upturning channel to your A. And in my opinion, that would be January then. That's for the bullish tracking. For the bearish tracking, we still need a new all-time low. For the targets for A and B and C, nothing is changing. Your T isn't changing. The only thing is we need a new low. And it's quite easy to say if this is happening. If we break or touch 2.39 again, yeah, we are doing a new low. How deep it's go, I don't think we will touch this trend line. No, it will be something. I don't think we will break $2. But then again, also for here, we are waiting for our V. Then 26 days for doing our high low, and then we go. So for me, there is 100, not 100%, but 99% no case for next week. Because we never did it. We just never did it. Why should we start now? So, last one is KOSS, bullish and bearish. So, for the complete overview for KOSS is that from IPO till December 84 and 1984 was just our higher low. From 1984 till March 2020 was just our A, our big A. And from March 2020 till, let's see how long it takes, but at least till last Friday, this was our B. We are in the B pullback. So our next one would be C. And for the bullish tracking, that is important because B doesn't have to do a V and A. So for the bullish tracking, we don't have to fall under 70 cents. Just saying. So what are we doing? So B peak, normally 0.5 pullback. 0.5 pullback isn't working here because we already broke it. But we are doing high lows, higher low, higher low. We broke on Friday my B line, or already on Wednesday. Nah, on Thursday. On Thursday we already broke my B line. My problem still for KOSS is this T right here, and this was a hold candle. So this is a perfect lower high. This is a perfect midpoint. You could even say here No, you can't, because the T isn't going higher than M. So this was your M. Your hold handle was the T. So the problem right now is the T is ending in a lower low. So I still would expect we have to go under this line here. We have to go under 354. And it's still then V under A. Then you're doing high low, same like MC, and you go. If we bounce here, then everything over 8.62 is bullish. And just to say that, our C is higher than our B peak, so higher than 69. But I would still, for the bullish tracking even, would expect we have to come down to 3.39. But even with this move, this should happen quick. We don't have, if all the memes are synchronized, we don't have much time. We really should see the knife. For the bearish tracking, here's our bearish tracking. Well, just for the overview. We have to say, and just saying, I have this only as an alt. For KOSS, I really lean more to the bullish tracking. We have to imagine that we're not seeing all the data, and this one is just the end of our invisible C. And from 1984 to March 2020 was just our high low, and we are ending our A right now. We still didn't start it with B. And for this, and that's why it's the bearish version, it would first, in my opinion, would be way long. I'm not even talking about January anymore. I think that would be middle next year, something like that, because here in July 2024, this would just have been our M. We would still need a new low. This would be the point for the bullish tracking to bounce and run. For the bearish one, you would need to go down there, come up again, but reject this trend line again, which would be at 3.34. This would be our T, and then we have to go even lower. So I would imagine something, I don't know, something between 150 and higher than 80 cents. And then we're doing V and A higher, and then we go. So yeah, for playing this, something like that would be better, because you could buy a bullish stock for 80 cents maybe, but it would add so much time to this. So I'm leaning more on the bullish one, but always have an alternative. Pretty simple. Okay. If you have questions, write it into the comments. If you have wishes for any other stocks, please write into the comment section of the normal stocks playlist, because this is only memes. And if you liked it, give me a like. Maybe because I show both. And for me personally, this tracking is working perfectly, completely without dark pools, data, hedge funds, and all this bullshit, which, to be fair, isn't working since 4 years. Because in my opinion, it doesn't matter at all. All the stocks will do what they are supposed to. It doesn't matter who is buying and selling what. It doesn't matter. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you next time.